Arsenal 2, Manchester United 3. What a wonderful game. You know, a great man once said, I love this game. Uh, it was more than what you could have asked for. It was tense, exciting, and in the end, fruitful if you're a Manchester United fan. But before we get into that, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Republic Day. Stay safe out there if you're having fun and enjoy the day. We'll get into the game. You know, growing up when I grew up, this was the game you look forward to all season, right? Whether you had a good season, whether you had a bad season, this was the game you look forward to every single year. Manchester United versus Arsenal. This is no disrespect to any other team that thinks that it should be other teams or fans of a team that think it should be other teams. But growing up, this was the game for us. So Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger, Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira, and so on and so forth. Coming into this game, there was a confidence, you know, a high on the Manchester derby, where we pitched a shutout, as they like to say in baseball. Uh, Looking positive that we would get something out of the game, but what would transpire would even shock most of us, I would say, to be fair, at least in the sense of how it unfurled. Um, we started off really shaky. We started off really shaky. Yeah. For the first 25 minutes, I would say Arsenal had a lot of the ball. We were letting them have a lot of the ball. Um, we were setting up 4-4-2 with Fernandez and Mbeumo furthest up front. However, we were dropping to a low block, more like a 6-person low block, a 6-2-2. Uh, Obviously, for a a quick transition purpose, obviously. But we'll get into that a little later. So we were looking really shaky initially. We were defending well, but we were giving them a lot of the ball. That's always dangerous when you have a team like Arsenal who's in all this form. Top of the Premier League table, top of the Champions League table. That's always a risk you're running when you give someone that much of the ball. To a certain extent, I think it was like 68% possession at the time. Anyway, so we were giving them a lot of the ball, and then the funny thing is the goal happened from a position where you'd least expect it. There was a lot of chaos in the box. Saka whips it to Odegaard, who doesn't take a touch and kind of hits it towards goal with the outside of his foot. Jurien Timber and Lisandro Martinez are kind of wrestling, and I think it goes off Lisandro Martinez in the end because it was given as an own goal. And for a second there, your heart sank because it's how you concede the goal sometimes affects you more than conceding a goal. But you know what? I've said this for weeks now, and I think we have to acknowledge it. This season, there has been a bit of a character development process here by the squad, which you have to give credit to the previous manager as well as this manager, and you have to give them that credit because that they did help in building that this season. Our heads didn't drop. We continued our same way, 4-4-2 pressing. Bruno and Mbeumo furthest up front, constantly pressing, not giving them a lot of space to breathe, um, while maintaining a midfield for ensuring their midfield line is covered, and we keep close proximity to the players so they can't slip a pass through while we press two up front, requiring Zubimendi to drop back and create that bounce pass as people like to call it nowadays. And that's where it started really. Shortly after that, Arsenal had a move, and Zubimendi was doing his role, which is try to open up space by dropping in deep. Unfortunately, he mishit it back to Raya, and it fell for Mbeumo, who sent Raya to the next dimension with a beautiful fake, and then slots it in between the sliding defender and David Raya eventually, and 1-1. And you're sitting there going 1-1. Okay, we absorbed a lot of pressure. All things considered, the first half 1-1 seems okay, but we got to stay tentative. We got to keep it tight. We gotta, be more disciplined like we have been in the Manchester Derby game, and we could get something out of it. We weren't too outclassed in the end. In fact, I think the first half finished 44% possession. We kind of gained possession after we scored that goal, and we played a little more assertively, I would say, after we equalized, which started about 4 5 minutes before the equalizer as well. But we did this thing where we were setting up 4-4-2, dropping back 6-2-2 for a possible transition, while defending. We will get into the players. I have some points about that. But then the second half starts, and Lisandro Martinez hits this line breaking pass to Patrick Dorgu, who was playing a little more narrow on the left flank while Luke Shaw was overlapping on that side. At least that was how the left hand side was set up. And Dorgu and Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Dorgu, Dorgu with a finisher, blinder off the crossbar into the goal. Absolute scenes there. I mean, Patrick Dorgu has been sensational as winger. Think of what you will of him as a defender when he was playing in that role. He has been very consistently good. Whether he has contributed or not, he has been very consistently good playing as a right wing or left winger. And, you know, I'm going to say it right now. I think player of the month, Patrick Dorgu. Player of the month for Manchester United. I don't know if he'll be on the list or not. For Manchester United, I think Patrick Dorgu has been sensational this month. Um, so he opens his tally, very cool, calm, and collected. Great finish there. A little luck from the crossbar, but you know what? You make your own luck in sport. And we're 2-1. Game proceeds. We create some chances. They create some chances. They get a few crosses in behind us. Created a lot of tension. We gave them some corners and free kicks, which also created some tension there. Sene Lamens with some crazy saves. There was one in the first half where it was point blank, excellent reflexes by Sene Lamens. And he was trying to push. They were trying to sneak into the corner post, near post. He was not having any of it today. Uh, he was trying to claim. He was trying to punch. He was very active in the box today. But eventually, in the 85th minute, I believe, Mikel Merino, it comes from across, it ricochets all over the place. Mikel Merino kicks it on target, but it kind of goes off Menu and it falls towards another United player, but by then the ball's already crossed the net. So I think the goal was awarded by Mikel Merino. But you could argue, if you really wanted to, not that I would, but you could argue that we have scored all the goals because that ball did definitely go off of Menu, change the direction of of the ball. And you could argue we scored all the goals this week, but I digress, jokingly, of course. And next thing you know, it's 2-2, and then you're like, you know what, 2-2. No one gave us a chance, to be honest. Let's be frank, right? Don't let the narrative change the fact that people thought we were going to get drubbed. But today was not the day. Today was not the day. Matheus Cunha off the bench continued in that Dorgu role where he plays narrower to the attackers Bruno and Mbeumo. Gets another midfield splitting pass, to disrupt the midfield, I should say. Wouldn't say it split it, but it definitely disrupted it. He cuts inside, he wraps it around. I think it was Gabriel Magalhaes, low into the far post, really quick. David Raya can't do anything about it. 3-2. He does some kind of, to me, it looked like he was trying to do some kind of surfing the wave kind of celebration. Either way you like it, that celebration will be epic and will be remembered forever. Another Manchester United player with a winner in a black jersey at the Emirates. We've seen that before. We finished 3-2 and it's scenes. It's scenes. We go to the players go to the away end, celebrate with the fans. Martinez is celebrating with his dad who's sitting in the stand. I mean, it was crazy. It really brought you back to the old times. So that was the game. Players, I would like to say this. Harry Maguire, best centre back on the pitch today. That's all I'll say about that. Lisandro Martinez, shaky in defense, excellent with the ball at his feet. Luke Shaw absolutely pocketed Saka. I think he had the most blocks, Most blocks. Yeah, he had the most blocks, most tackles, I think, all across the pitch. Luke Shaw was sensational. He has that quality at left back. He just needs to stay fit. We've been trying to replace him for years, but you cannot replace quality like that. Whatever you may think of Luke Shaw, you cannot replace quality like that. Diego Dallo did his thing, a regular game, didn't let anyone pass. I think this is the second game in a row. I don't think he got dribble past. Correct me if I'm wrong. Another solid game by Diego Dallo. No mistakes, clean, always responsible, always there for an outlet, always creating a disruption, whether it is just by off the ball running, creating pandemonium, doubling up with Ahmad Diallo, who defensively would stay a little wider, for the counter attack, because Dogu was a little more narrow while we were attacking. He would create the width on the right hand side of the pitch. Great relationship between Ahmad and Dallo. Ahmad, Dallo. Ahmad also was dropping back to help Dallo double up on defense, which was excellent. And then obviously the Dallo and Mbeumo connection that's been going on for the whole season. And what can I say about Bryan Mbeumo? I don't think there is a bigger fan of Bryan Mbeumo than me. I've been wanting him the year before he signed. I'm so happy he signed for our club. First goal was exactly what I'm talking about. Cool, calm, collected, skillful, technical, hardworking, off the ball menace. This is precisely what we want. What he makes up for lack of height, he makes up for in so many other things. That's why he can play as striker. Absolutely sensational. Uncle Casemiro was everywhere. He was hitting blocks. He was disrupting play. The fist bumps. He was pumped up. You know what? This was his first game after he said he's probably not going to resign and he's probably leaving. I say probably because I still hope he isn't. But he was everywhere on the pitch. Bruno Fernandes. I mean, I can't. There is no words to describe him. He's my captain. That's all I'll say. He is my captain. I absolutely adore that man. I cannot say any other words. Um, I think Sen Lamens immense. I can do the David De Gea rant, but I'm not going to. Uh, it's just nice to have another one like that. I suppose that's what you can say. As long as he keeps his goalkeeper positional awareness up high, I think sky's the limit for this young kid. I really do think so. But I'm going to end off by saying this: Patrick Dorgu. I don't want to say it's a redemption arc because you've only been here for a year, but you have been absolutely sensational. I'm not having it from nobody. You have been absolutely sensational ever since you have been playing on the wing. I would even go as far as to say as a revelation because people said you could play wing, but no, man. You should play wing. Yeah, you should play on the wing, I should say. Absolutely sensational. I think he's like got 5 GA in the last 6 games or something like that. I mean, stand up Patrick Dorgu, my player of the month already. I'm calling it. Um, a few closing notes on the manager, Mikel Carricke, who has brought the big game feel back to Manchester United. There's something about a man in a suit and an overcoat, especially if you're a United fan. Um, Calm, composed, while on the sidelines, always giving advice, making substitutions, smart substitutions, some which even that got me worried yesterday. I'm not going to pretend like it didn't. It did. It's there on the stream. I was worried. Calm, composed, this new formation, this reliance on keeping players close to each other and building relationships off of the on the pitch by keeping them close to each other. Narrow, tight passes, tiki taka, counter, brutal on the counters, decisive on the counters, clinical on the counters. He has instilled something back into us that we have not had in a long time. You can call it DNA, you can call it confidence, you can call it what you want, but you cannot deny the fact that he has instilled something into this club while he's been here. So thank you, Michael Carrick, for installing that feeling in us, or instilling that feeling in us, I should say. We got 15 games to go. I'm still going to say we take it one game at a time. But after game week 23, Manchester United is in the top four, and I'm here for it. No one gave us a chance to finish top four. If you're being honest, There is a chance. Let's just put it that way. Um, that being said, guys, enjoy the victory. I say that every week. Enjoy the victory. We don't know when it's going to end. Enjoy the moment and have a good day today. I'll see you in the next one.